Hey guys, welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the latest news that's been happening in India's startup ecosystem over the course of the last week. Now, we're currently in week 8 right now of this lockdown here in India, and the longer that this lockdown goes on, the larger the effects that it's having on the startup ecosystem are. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. But before we do, I have a little bit of housekeeping, some things that I need to get you guys caught up on. Firstly, I don't know if you guys can tell, especially because lots of you guys are watching these videos on mobile. I have not gotten a lot of sleep over the last 48 hours. So if I make some mistakes throughout the course of this video, please do forgive me for that. My brain's like working at half capacity right now. So I've been working very hard on a video that I'm super excited to share with you guys. It's a video about the story of Flipkart. Now, I know that's a story that's been told kind of 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, but we wanted to put our own spin on it and sort of share some parts of the story that you might not have heard about in other videos. So please do go check that video out. I think you'll enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it, also please do share it with some friends, family members, colleagues, people who you think would enjoy it as well. And then secondly, real quick, there's a couple of you guys that have been asking for videos specifically about startups in the agri-tech space, as well as the biotech/pharma tech spaces. And I'm happy to let you guys know that we are now working, now that we have this Flipkart video in the past, it's behind us, it's done, we've posted it, that we're working on scripts for those 2 videos. So get excited about those. There might be a couple of videos in between, but definitely we are now writing those scripts, and you should see those videos pop up on our channel shortly. All right, now moving on to the news, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was that Zomato has changed the name of Zomato Market to Zomato Groceries. That's it. I think that's pretty much, that's all I have to say about that. But while we're talking about Zomato, I think that there's a really interesting piece of news that's worth sharing. Zomato and Swiggy are both talking to state governments, trying to get permission to deliver you and me, definitely me, if this happens, I'm definitely gonna be using it. For the first time ever, they're trying to deliver alcohol. Personally, I think that there's a lot of good reasons why this should be permitted, and also why Swiggy and Zomato should be in charge of it. The first one, is a personal reason. I haven't had a beer in like 2 months, more than 2 months, and I'm starting to go a little bit crazy. But there's people like me, who have chosen not to go to these liquor stores or wine shops or MRPs, whatever you call them, simply because we saw video of the lineups and the crowds, and we thought, it's just smarter to not get involved in all of that. But at the same time, people like me are starting to feel tempted, right? It's been a while. And I don't think that the only option should be going out on foot and, risking our health as well as the health of everybody around us just to go and buy a couple of bottles of booze, right? Like, why can't we just deliver like everything else, right? That's what I've been doing almost exclusively since the lockdown began. Hasn't up until this point has not been an option with alcohol, and I think that it should be. Zomato and Swiggy have a proven track record. These are companies that people trust, that people rely on, that have been operating under this lockdown successfully, smoothly. It's not like this is some tiny little alcohol startup that's popping up out of the blue saying that we want to capitalize on this opportunity, and so we're approaching the government to see if we can meet the needs of people who want alcohol. This is Zomato and Swiggy that we're talking about here. So, I think if there's anyone who's going to do it, it should be them. And actually, there's a couple of different states that have already started making moves on this. Chhattisgarh is one of them, West Bengal. These are 2 states that where alcohol delivery is now sort of being rolled out, not by Zomato and Swiggy, although that might change. But then there's also Punjab, where the idea has been mooted. And so we're waiting to see sort of how this unfolds. I'm not really sure if it's gonna, fully take off. But the Supreme Court of India has encouraged all of the states in the country to take a look at this, at least, to consider it. So hopefully as we move out of lockdown 3 and into lockdown 4, these states kind of come around. And actually this is something that I think would be really cool to see sort of if it does take off during the lockdown, it would be cool to see it persist after the lockdown is over. All right, next up in the news, earlier this week, the Indian government announced one of the world's largest relief packages in order to reignite India's slowing economy. This relief package is worth 20 lakh crore rupees, that's 20 trillion rupees, which is around 10% of India's GDP. And one of the aims of this package is to fulfill the Prime Minister's vision for a self-reliant India by focusing on local products and fulfilling local demand. So let's quickly take a look at some of the key benefits announced for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in this package. Firstly, the government is offering collateral-free automatic loans worth 3 lakh crore rupees, that's 3 trillion rupees, to businesses and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. This is expected to benefit approximately 45 lakh micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in the country. So while this package is aimed at allowing micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to procure credit for raw materials and other business operations, the government is also offering a 20,000 crore rupee subordinate debt for stressed micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises that are finding it hard to sustain their businesses due to the lockdown. This other package is expected to benefit around 2 lakh micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And then besides these two packages, there's also something that's being called a fund of funds, which is being created to infuse 50,000 crore rupees into India's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises through equity to help these small businesses to grow and expand. And then also an interesting little side note here is that in order to allow more micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to benefit from these relief packages and any further government schemes, the definition of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises has been revised. Now, under this revision, in order to be classified as a micro enterprise, the business can have invested up to 1 crore rupees and a turnover of up to 5 crore rupees. To be classified as a small enterprise, investment up to 10 crores and a turnover of up to 50 crore rupees. And to be classified as a medium enterprise, investment up to 20 crores and a turnover of up to 100 crore rupees. All right, now that I'm an expert on unnecessarily saying micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise instead of MSME, let's move on to the next news item, which in my opinion is pretty crazy. Unacademy has announced that 60% of its workforce of approximately 1,000 employees will be working from home permanently. According to Times of India, Unacademy's founder and CEO, Gaurav Munjal, said that they've seen their teams being super productive working remotely during the lockdown, and the company believes that by enabling their employees to work from home, they'll be able to scale much faster. Now, while these employees are going to be allowed to work from home, he clarified that they will still have to come into the office 2 to 4 times a month for discussions, reviews, and meetings. And this news came just one day after Jack Dorsey, one of the co-founders and the CEO of Twitter, told his employees that they'll all be working from home forever. Of course, he later clarified that employees working jobs that require physical presence, like maintaining servers, will still need to come into the office, but pretty much everyone else is going to be working from home. And even before Twitter's announcement, last month actually, one of India's largest IT firms, TCS, had committed that it will allow 75% of its workforce to work remotely by the year 2025. And with a workforce of 4.5 lakh employees across 50 countries, and 3.5 lakh of which are in India, this was definitely a big push for other companies to follow suit. So as always, I'm very curious to know what you guys think of this. Is working from home the way of the future? Obviously in the case of Twitter and Unacademy, it definitely is. There's no going back when you make an announcement like this. That's just the way it's going to be from now on. But is this something that you think more startups are going to start to adopt, especially startups that are very much tech focused, startups that don't require a lot of people to come into the office physically and they can do most of the work that they're doing from home? Leave a comment down below because I'm very curious to know what your thoughts on this are. All right, next up in the news, Swedish music streaming company Spotify has signed a deal with India's oldest music label, Saregama. This deal is going to allow Spotify to offer their users Saregama's entire music catalog, which includes over 100,000 old and new age songs across more than 25 local languages. This means that Indian Spotify users will now be able to listen to classic music from legendary Indian singers like Lata Mangeshkar, Mohammed Rafi, Manna Dey, and R.D. Burman. This is great news for Spotify, especially when you consider the fact that they actually had to take down songs that were owned by Saregama in April of last year after a copyright infringement case was filed by Saregama's parent company, RP Goenka Group, when they failed to close a deal. And it's worth noting that Spotify actually already has a deal set up to offer Saregama's music to its users users in international markets through a distributor. This news is coming just weeks after Spotify announced a similar deal with Indian music label Shemaru, allowing it to add another 25,000 Indian songs to its catalog. Launched in India in February of 2019, Spotify has been aggressively trying to expand its presence in the country. And so these deals will definitely allow the company to attract more users listening to music in their local languages. Spotify is competing with already established players like Gaana and Jio that dominate the Indian audio streaming market with 30% and 24% market share. That being said, Spotify has already managed to get around 15% market share in 1 year of its operations in the country. All right, moving on to some funding news now. Jio Platforms has announced that they're going to be raising 11,367 crore rupees from private equity firm Vista Equity Partners for a 2.32% stake. With this investment, Jio Platforms has raised a total of 60,596.37 crore rupees from leading technology investors like Facebook, Silver Lake, and now Vista Equity Partners for a combined stake of around 13.4% in the last 3 weeks. Vista Equity Partners is a technology investment firm focused on enabling companies working on enterprise software, data, and technology to drive change. With over 20 years of experience, the company has invested more than $57 billion in global companies like Cvent, MicroEdge, and TIBCO. All right, next up in the funding news, SaaS-based contract lifecycle management startup SirionLabs has raised $44 million in its Series C round from Tiger Global and Avatar Growth Capital. SirionLabs uses its AI-powered contract management platform to help businesses to seamlessly create and execute contracts with their suppliers and customers. The company offers contracts in more than 40 languages to over 200 of the world's leading companies like Credit Suisse, Vodafone, Unilever, Fujitsu, and A. The company is going to be using these funds to further strengthen their position in the contract lifecycle management category by establishing a technology center in Seattle to fuel innovation and boost sales. With this investment, SirionLabs has raised a total of $66 million from its investors and is now valued at $250 million. All right, next up in the funding news, e-commerce logistics solutions provider Shiprocket has raised $13 million in its Series C round from Tribe Capital, Innovent Capital, and Bertelsmann India Investments. As part of the investment, Tribe Capital's Arjun Sethi will be joining Shiprocket's board of directors. Founded by Sahil Goel, Gautam Kapoor, and Vishesh Khurana in 2017, Shiprocket helps e-commerce companies to grow their business by helping them to optimize their shipping and logistics. The company uses its logistics platform to offer order management facilities, real-time order tracking, and multi-payment options. Shiprocket has a network of over 17 logistics partners delivering globally to over 220 countries and 26,000 PIN codes in India. The company claims to process 2 million shipments every month, enabling over 35 sellers in India. These funds that they've raised will be used to expand internationally and to build more robust products by hiring new talent across data science and engineering domains. All right, next up in the funding news, microfinance company Sindhuja Microcredit has raised $8.7 million in its Series B round from Nordic Microfinance Initiative and Carpe Diem Capital. Now, normally while I summarize the company's story and talk a little bit about what they're going to be using the funds for, I would show you a video clip that they've posted on one of their social media accounts. However, that doesn't appear to be an option, and so this is the only clip that I was able to dig up that has anything to do with this company. So just enjoy this while I summarize the story of the company. Founded by Abhishek Kumar and Malkit Singh Didyala in 2018, Sindhuja Microcredit boosts financial inclusion in the country by providing microloans to financially undeserved sections of the community. To date, the company claims to have served more than 84,000 people across 5 states with more than 1.7 billion rupees AUM. And this $8.7 million that they've raised is going to be used to scale their operations and to provide credit to self-employed female micro-entrepreneurs in rural India whose livelihood has been affected by the coronavirus pandemic. All right, next up in the funding news, online doctor consultation startup DocsApp has raised approximately $9.5 million from Fusion Capital, Bessemer Venture Partners, Rebright Partners, and the Milliways Fund. Founded by Satish Kannan and Enbasekar Dinadayalane in 2015, DocsApp offers online consultation over chat or phone call to its users across more than 15 specialties like gynecology, pediatrics, dermatology, and psychiatry. Apart from online consultation consultation, users can also order their medicine through the app. The startup has more than 10,000 doctors on its platform and delivers medicine to more than 2 lakh people. And the last piece of funding news that I have for you guys this week is that omni-channel beauty retailer Nykaa has raised 67 crore rupees from existing investor SteadView Capital. Founded by Falguni Nayar in 2012, Nykaa was started as an online platform for selling curated beauty and healthcare products. Over the years, it has transformed into an omni-channel beauty retailer with more than 65 offline stores across the country. It remains one of the few profitable unicorns in India and has posted a profit of 2.31 crore rupees in the previous financial year. Last month, Nykaa had raised 100 crore rupees from SteadView Capital, and so now with this latest investment, SteadView Capital holds a 3% stake in Nykaa. The company is reportedly valued at $1.2 billion and is one of the latest Indian startups to join the coveted unicorn club. Alright, that is all the startup news that I have for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, please do leave a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts were on some of the things that we talked about today. Also, please do share this video with somebody who you think would enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Founded by Satish Kannan and Inbasekar Dinadayalane, and Inbasekar Dinadayalane.